Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. There is a large wooden building in the majestic big Yamanaka. And at the gate of this building, a figure slowly approaching from a distance stopped here, but the main reason for him to stop was because someone had already put a knife on his neck, and that cold touch seemed to remind him that as long as the slightest movement of the knife-wielding man's hand would kill him here. No one else is allowed to enter here, please leave here immediately, said the knife-wielding man. That can't be done. I walked for a long time to find this place. If you let me leave, my hard work in front of me will be in vain. However, Yefu, who was held by the knife on his neck, did not have the slightest fear on his face. Instead, he said with a slight smile on his face, "Are you here specially? Are you a ghost?" After hearing Yefu's words, the guard also frowned, looked at Yefu suspiciously, and said. However, looking at the clear sky, the other party's whole body was under the sun's rays. If the other party was a ghost, he would have died long ago under such sunlight, and he could still come here alive? Therefore, the possibility that the other party is a ghost is directly excluded from his mind. I'm just a businessman from afar, please tell your lord for me that I have a deal to discuss with him, it's about Guiwu Sujiwu mi. Yefu said unhurriedly. Hearing this, the guard took a deep look at Yefu and thought for a while. Good. The guard put his knife back into its sheath, said a word, and went in to report. Certainly. Yefu wouldn't go in because of the guard. There was no one guarding here, so he just went in directly. If so, then he is more or less stupid. What is this place? Ghost Squad headquarters. The place where the Lord lives, and this place, how could there be only one guard guarding the gate? There may be more people hidden in the dark. It's really a place with beautiful mountains and clear waters. After Yefu looked at everything around him, he also sighed with emotion. But that wasn't what he was thinking about. Obviously, he is not from this world. He is from another world. Certainly. The fundamental reason for this is mainly because he obtained the cheat that the protagonist in certain system texts obtained. Wanja Middleman System. The function of this system is also very simple, let him travel through the heavens and become a middleman. The simple description is that after obtaining the goods in World A, he goes to World B to sell the goods obtained in World A. From this, he earns a little bit of a difference of 100 million trading points. And the use of trading points is more. First of all, trading points can be used to exchange for included commodities, and can also be used to improve one's own strength. But he is now. The current number of successful transactions is 0. That's why he used the traversal function of the Myriad Realms broker system to come to this world, trying to make a transaction, and come to the butterfly's first commodity to be included. In the rules of the system, the goods must be included goods, and then traded in other worlds, and the transaction is considered completed only after the sale is successful. So, in the product catalog of his Wanja middleman system, the current product catalog is naturally 0, so he has to find the first product to be included, and then bring the first product, go to other worlds, sell this product, and complete transactions one by one. It's a pity that using the information you know to trade is not recognized, otherwise, you can get the first pot of gold today. Yefu secretly sighed in his heart. Originally, he planned to use his own understanding of the plot, and then use the information in the plot to make a transaction. In this way, he really can complete the transaction without paying any cost. On the basis that the cost is 0, if the transaction is completed, the difference in the transaction point price he earns will be very huge, and a large number of commodities can also be included. But alas! This system obviously anticipated this a long time ago, so it imposed restrictions on him. Only the commodities included in the commodity catalog are allowed to be successfully sold and traded in other worlds. Only in this way can the transaction be considered successful, and he can earn the price difference between the commodity sales in the two worlds. The guard who notified him came out not long after. "Sir, this way please, my lord wants to see you." After the guard appeared in front of Yefu again, his attitude was obviously much better than before. "Please lead the way," Yefu said. The guard was also leading the way ahead, and under the leadership of the other party, he entered the mansion. The scenery inside caught Yefu's attention for a while, and then he withdrew his gaze. Not long. He met the head of the legendary ghost-killing team, that is, the head of the family. The first time Yefu saw the other person, Yefu's first feeling was that this person might be seriously ill. This is no joke. But Uchiha's appearance doesn't look very good, and the disfigurement above the face, it would be really strange if it looks good. "Businessman of 10,000 realms, Yefu, I have seen the head of the ghost-killing squad," Yefu said with a smile. "According to what His Excellency Yefu said, it seems that Your Excellency has information about Giwasuji Wumi in your hands. I don't know what you need. The ghost-killing team is willing to help Your Excellency Yefu," Uchiha said slowly. "Master Uchiha, between you and me, it's better not to say such oblique words, it's better to be straightforward." Yefu smiled and said. What the other party said just now was obviously telling him that the ghost-killing team was willing to pay a huge price in exchange for the information on Ghost Wusuji in his hands. "I have a piece of information about Oni Wusuji Mumi in my hand. Getting this information is enough to make Oni Wusuji Mumi go crazy and come towards you. My condition is also very simple. I need your breathing method." Yefu stared at Yoshiki, and said. If the information in Yefu's hands is indeed of such value, the ghost-killing team is willing to exchange it with you through breathing. After hearing Yefu's words, Uchiha was also shocked, and his breathing became slightly short of breath, but the excitement was quickly calmed down by him. If what the other party said is true, then as far as the ghost-killing team is concerned, they must take down the information in Yefu's hands no matter what the price is. Chapter 2. I don't know how much information the owner of Sanyashiki has about Momosuji. Yefu didn't answer Uchiha directly, but asked such a sentence first, which made the latter stunned for a moment, and then suddenly realized, presumably, this is Yefu who wanted to compare his side's innocence with Oni Wusuji. How much information is there, and then tell what he doesn't know. To this, Uchiha smiled slightly, and said slowly in a gentle voice, Oni Wusuji, the ancestor of Oni who has lived for hundreds of years, because of his existence, the ghost-killing team went no matter what. Eliminate the ghosts, but if you don't eliminate the source of the ghost dance Suji Wumi, then the ghosts cannot be completely wiped out. Your Excellency Yefu also saw my face. This is a curse. This is because of the blood relationship between Animate Tsujimomi and the Uchiha clan. Maybe it is because people like him have stolen longevity to be so ugly. The reason for surviving in such a posture has attracted the displeasure of the heavens, so the Uchiha clan has been cursed after Kamiite Tsujimu. The children born, especially the males, are all weak and sick, and they will die in a short period of time. In order not to cut off the bloodline, the girls of the obstetrician clan and the priest clan are married. Although this way continues the offspring life, but still no one can reach the age of 30. This is the tragic fate of Uchiha. Just because they are blood related to Oni Wusuji, they have suffered such a vicious curse from the heavens. It seems that you have very little information about Oni Wusuji Myu. Yefu shook his head and said. However, this is really normal. After all, Boss Xiao was really frightened after experiencing Ji Koyuan's coercion. Since then, Boss Xiao has officially started working at that time. I have a lot of information here, but I think what you want most is the information about the whereabouts of Kaiwasuji. Yefu said to Yashiki-yoya. Hearing this, Yashiki-yoya straightened up while kneeling and slightly bowing. He just wanted to know the whereabouts of Kamaisuji, and then, at all costs, completely wiped out Kamaisuji. This is the meaning of the ghost-killing team. Of course, I have no whereabouts of him. As soon as this remark came out, even Yoya Miyashiki was stunned when he heard it. Your Excellency Yefu, you are not. Don't worry, I really don't have his whereabouts, but my information is enough for him to show up. Yefu said confidently. Your Excellency Yefu, please tell me. Yoya Miyashiki said quickly, isn't that what he did for this? For hundreds of years, especially after an incident recorded by the ghost-killing team, the whereabouts of Oni Wusuji has become a complete mystery, and no one can find the other party's whereabouts. That was definitely an opportunity. An opportunity for the ghost-killing team to do everything in their power to eliminate Anime Suji. Their ghost-killing team has been waiting for such an opportunity for too long. Anime Suji, when he was still a human being, he was weak and sickly. The doctor once said that he would not live to be 20 years old, but a kind doctor chose to treat Anime Suji, so he wanted to prolong the life of Anime Suji. Developed a drug, but when taking this drug, the side effects of this drug made Anime Suji think that his condition had worsened, so he killed the doctor in anger. It wasn't until after the doctor died that he discovered that his body not only regained health, but also gained immortality and a tougher body, but he also began to have a desire for flesh and blood. Of course it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that death when exposed to the sun has become Wyu's most fatal weakness. Being unable to walk in the sun for a lifetime makes Wyu feel extremely humiliated and angry. Then, Ghost Dance Suji studied the doctor's formula, and finally confirmed that the finished product of the medicine needs to add a plant that the doctor calls Blue Bana flower, but the growth place and cultivation method of Blue Bana flower are only the doctor only knew about it, and the one who had evolved was already in his hands, so he didn't know where the Blue Bana flower was. So, in order to eliminate the fear that the sun could take his life away at any time, he used his own blood to create a large number of ghosts, and used the ghosts to find for him the last herbal ingredient of the medicine, the green flower of the other side. Yefu slowly told about the birth of Oni Wusuji. This piece of information was absolutely unheard of by Yasuya Yubayashiki, who was also very shocked when he heard all this. He never thought that Inuyashiki Muyo was born in this way. After a long time, it would have been nice if the doctor hadn't treated Ghost Mai Suji. There was such a long sigh from Miyashiki Yoya's mouth. If that name hadn't chosen to save Giwasuji Wumi, then the ancestor of Giwasuji Wumi would not have been born. In that case, there would be no tragedy for thousands of years. It can only be said that fate tricks people. For a doctor, treating patients is their job. The doctor is kind, but he can't see through the essence of a person, let alone the future. If he can see in the future, if he knows that the person he rescues will become such an evil ghost, no matter how kind he is, he probably won't choose to rescue Kamaisuji. Yefu shook his head and said. Oni Wusuji was declared terminally ill by many doctors when he was still a human, and that doctor chose to prolong the life of Oni Wusuji because of his kindness. Matter. How could that kind doctor go to rescue Giwasuji Wumi? It would be nice if he didn't stab Giwasuji to death. Your Excellency Yefu's information should be Blue Bana flower. In order to eliminate his last weakness, Oni Wusuji has been searched by ghosts for thousands of years. If there is a blue Higan flower, Oni Wusuji must do his best. Get it? Miyashiki Yoya is not stupid, Yefu has already reminded him to this point. If he still can't hear it, he, the head of the ghost-killing team, will be in vain. Chapter 3. The Blue Bana flower is a kind of flower that only blooms during the day, and it will only bloom for 2 or 3 days. If you find this thing, you can threaten Wumi with words. Wumi will definitely not dare to come out during the day, but at night, he will try his best to get this thing from your hands, even showing up in person. Yefu didn't procrastinate, and directly told the information about the Blue Bana flower. With Wyu's character, it is natural to instinctively feel that he has evolved beyond the human race, and he doesn't care about the ghost-killing team. For example, in the original book, Uchiha showed up in person to kill Yoya. As a result, Yoya's eye was taken aback by obstetrician Shiki. But it can also be seen from this. He went back to go, but that was just in front of Ji Koyuan. Before Ji Koyuan came out, the other party still didn't pay attention to the ghost-killing team at all, but Ji Koyuan cut him off. After that, he didn't dare to come out until Ji Koyuan died completely. It can be seen that the opponent's dog is also divided into objects. And now? How long has Ji Koyuan passed away? So, do you need to be afraid of Wumi? He has nothing to be afraid of but the sun. Exactly so. If Uze Ubayashiki finds the blue Higan flower, he can use the blue Higan flower to pass through some ghosts and let Wumi know that the blue Higan flower he has been looking for thousands of years is now in the hands of the ghost-killing team. The ghost-killing team that got the blue Bianhua can completely threaten them with words. For example, Wumi, you don't want the blue Bana to disappear completely, do you? With that said, it is naturally impossible to let Wumi come out to bask in the sun in broad daylight. But when the night comes, for the blue Bana flower, Wumian is definitely willing to do it himself. So, don't look at this as a seemingly simple piece of information, but this piece of information is quite important. The ghost-killing team could have the opportunity to face the ancestor of the ghost, an Amui Suji, and this kind of opportunity, in thousands of years, was only once in Ji Koyuanyi. From this, it can be seen that this kind of opportunity is simply the odds of winning the lottery are lower than that of scratching the lottery. Its importance can also be seen. Your Excellency Yefu's information can be said to be the best information for hundreds of years for the ghost-killing team. On behalf of the ghost-killing team, I am very grateful to Your Excellency Yefu for your help. Uchiha Ubayashiki also said gratefully to Yefu. No, I pay for the intelligence, you pay for the breathing technique, it's just a deal between us. Yefu shook his head and said. You still need to find the blue Bana flower by yourself. I don't know where it is. However, I will give you a piece of news. Wumi has 5 brains and 7 hearts, and his regenerative ability is extremely strong. Almost at the same time of the attack, he can recover instantly, even if the body is cut into pieces, he can easily recover completely. With the current strength of your ghost-killing team, even if you give everything you have, the possibility of defeating Wumi is extremely low. Yefu said slowly. This is not nonsense, if you want to deal with Wumi, you must first cut off all Wumi's subordinates, otherwise, just a few string ghosts are enough to hold back most of the ghost-killing team. And without misery, let alone. Unless the other party is allowed to come out to bask in the sun, if the ghost-killing team's pillars, which don't even have the Madara pattern activated, are used to deal with Wumi, it's no different from giving away for nothing. Thank you, Your Excellency Yefu, for the information. After Uchiha finished listening, he was also silent for a long time before speaking out. The other party is reminding him that there is only one chance to catch Wumi like this, if you are not prepared enough and let Wumi run away, even if you don't let Wumi get the blue Bana flower, then it is absolutely impossible to see Wumian again. Possible. Therefore, if you don't have a 70% to 80% winning rate, then don't just use information like the blue Bana flower to lead Wumi. Otherwise, there would be no second chance to deal with Wumi. Your Excellency Yefu, I wonder what breathing method you want to learn? Uchiha Ubayashiki asked. There are many classifications of breathing methods. In the deal proposed by the other party and him, in his opinion, Yefu just wants to learn breathing methods, but breathing methods are only suitable for one person to learn. There is no point in learning 2 kinds of breathing methods at all. Switching breathing methods during battle? Unless there are special circumstances, no one will learn 2 breathing methods, and switch between breathing methods in battle. After all, more is worse than fine. It takes more time to learn 2 breathing methods than to learn 1 breathing method. And switching the breathing method during the battle is meaningless at all, and if the two breathing methods conflict with each other, switching once, after that, the machine will crash. Therefore, he asked Yefu this way. All. Yefu looked at Yoyashiki seriously and said. He didn't want to learn it by himself, he just wanted to include these breathing methods in his catalog, so, include a breathing method? What a joke, if possible, of course all the breathing methods are included. Your Excellency Yefu, you only need to learn one kind of breathing method, and it is not a good thing to have more. Yubayashiki reminded Yefu. I know, but I'm just a businessman, and the transaction just now was just to enrich my products, not because I want to learn breathing techniques myself. Yefu explained a little bit. Immediately, although Yubayashiki did not understand what Yefu said about the abundance of commodities, he more or less understood it. In this case, I will ask someone to bring me the practice secrets of the breathing method. Yubayashiki said. Forget about the cheats, you just let me meet the pillars of various breathing methods, and let me copy the breathing methods on them. If you use the cheats as a commodity, you have to let people learn it, which is too troublesome. Yefu shook his head and said. Including the practice secrets of breathing method in the product catalog is not the same as directly collecting the breathing method from the person who knows how to breathe in the product catalog. The former, when he sells the breathing method in the future, he will directly give the buyer a cheat book. As for the latter, he can directly use the breathing method as a skill for the opponent to learn instantly. Like a peerless martial arts. One is cheats, which need to be learned slowly. And the other one is directly enlightened learning. Everyone would want to choose the second option. If you can take a shortcut, why not take it? So. He doesn't need to guess, he knows how to sell it, which will make customers like it more. Chapter 4. In that case, I will arrange for someone to take your Excellency Yefu to rest first. After hearing this, Yaeze, the obstetrician, also arranged for someone to take Yefu to the pillar. A member of Hidden also quickly appeared by Yefu's side, this is the staff arranged for him by Yoyashiki. The structure of the ghost-killing team is divided into several parts. The master, the leader of the demon-killing team, is Yubayashiki. Secondly, there is Zhu Li, the best group of combat members in the ghost-killing team. And the face is the general team members, that is, combat members other than Zhu. The stepson can be said to be a member cultivated by Zhu himself. This must be a very outstanding talent who can take on the role. It can also be said in a disguised form that he is the disciple selected by Zhu. Next, there is the cultivator. The cultivators are generally the swordsmen of the ghost-slaying team in the past, and they are distributed in various places. The main purpose is naturally to cultivate newcomers to the ghost-slaying team of fresh blood. Finally, there is Yin. The members of Yin are mainly responsible for the aftermath of the swordsman after the battle, and also shoulder other support. So, a member of Hidden became the leader of Yefu. Certainly. This guide is not Zhiji who brought Yefu to see Zhu. Instead, take Yefu to a resting place. You know, Zhu is not a idler, they are running around, beheading evil spirits, so, like the scene where Zhu get together in the original book, it was only at the determined time after the news was delivered in advance through the crow. Only when we get together can we hold a meeting of pillars. Then, Yefu also arrived at the place arranged for him by Yayashiki, the maternity house. This place is undoubtedly very luxurious. At least, in such an era, this is definitely a mansion. However, for the Yubayashiki family that has existed for hundreds of years, it is actually reasonable to have such a mansion. After all, if you don't have such a little bit of money, how can you afford the huge amount of money consumed by the ghost-killing team for hundreds of years? Food, medical treatment, cultivation. These things are all the same, but they all need a lot of money to operate. Master Yefu, please stay here for a few days, the Lord has ordered, if Master Yefu has any needs, Just ask, we will do our best to satisfy Master Yefu. As for Zhu, the Lord has already issued an order, and they will come back as soon as possible. Hidden members said. Okay, I get it. Yefu nodded, indicating that he understood. He had already expected this situation, so he was not in a hurry. As for Uyashiki Yaeze's tricks? That shouldn't be possible. Given the character of Uyashiki in the original book, the other party is not someone who can do that kind of dirty tricks. That's why he chose this world to make a deal with Uyashiki. Because the probability of the other party tearing up the agreement is really too small. At first, he would rather go to Hokage world. But after considering Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Dan's, he gave up this idea. The ninja world is too dangerous. It is possible to arrest him, even if he has a systematic protection mechanism that allows others to leave the world in an instant when they are in danger. But if something like that happens, it means that the information he put in will be in vain. He also wasted time. That's why he chose to come to the Ghost Slayer world and make a deal with the Ghost Killing team. After all, for this first step, he had to walk steadily. Yefu lives here with peace of mind. Naturally, he doesn't need to consider security issues. With a systematic protection mechanism, he can ensure his own safety. The other side. Following the order of Uyashiki, it was issued. The crow also set off with orders. In the fastest possible time. The crow's order was also transmitted to the ears of a famous member of the Ghost Killing team. They were a little puzzled when they received the order, but they still rushed back after solving the matter at hand as quickly as possible. A day later. In the mansion, Yefu was playing the PSP handheld game console, which he specially prepared. He had guessed that such a boring situation would happen early on, so he brought this gadget. Mainly, it can be used to pass the time when you are bored. As for the king and the like, wait for the game. That trademark needs a network. I have traveled through a world, and I am still playing Chicken Feathers, so I can only play this kind of stand-alone game. Moshi Moshi. Just when Yefu was fascinated by playing, a voice sounded. His hand shook, and the character in the game died. To this, Yefu sighed helplessly, and immediately raised his head to look at the place where the sound came from. A figure was standing not far away, with a pretty face, a butterfly hair ornament behind her hair, and a feather weaving patterned with butterfly wings on her body. With these obvious features, if Yefu still can't recognize each other, then he is blind. See. He also casually put the PSP in his hand back into his system space. Butterfly was surprised by the disappearance of the item in one hand. Did your master call you here? Yefu looked at Butterfly Ren and asked. Yes, I just didn't expect that the person I wanted to meet turned out to be such a little brother. Butterfly Shinobi seemed to have a slight smile on his face all the time, and said. Little brother? I'm older than you, little sister. For such a provocation, Yefu of course responded directly. He is indeed right, he is 20 years old, and the current Butterfly Shinobi, if he remembers correctly, the time when he came to this world should be the year when Tanjiro became the demon killing team. Butterfly Shinobi is only 18 years old. I really have to count. The other party had to call him Big Brother. I won't talk nonsense anymore. Since Uyashiki asked you to come here, I must have told you already. Now I'm going to get paid. Yefu took a look at Butterfly Ninja who was slapped by him, narrowed his eyes and looked at him. It seemed that the other party had something to say, but Yefu didn't intend to talk nonsense with the other party. Stretch out your hand and grab the void in the direction of the opponent. Butterfly Shinobi's body also lit up with a ray of light. For a moment, a ball of light floated out of Butterfly Shinobi's body, and then landed in Yefu's hands. Insect breath, not bad. Yefu, holding the light ball in his hand, looked at the light ball, which was the skill of insect breath taken from Butterfly Shinobi, and nodded with satisfaction. He finally got the first product. Chapter 5. Ding! The product Breath of Insects has been successfully included. Ding! There will be a level evaluation for Breath of Insects, please wait later. Ding! The valuation is successful, congratulations to host for including the level 3 product Breath of Insects. Ding! Host successfully included the first product. Ding! The level of host intermediaries has been raised from level 0 to level 1. Level 1 intermediaries can get a 10% discount on the transaction points spent when purchasing goods. Ding! Congratulations to host for becoming a Tier 1 intermediary and getting a reward, you can buy one item for free. When the skill ball of Breath of Worms was included in the product catalog by the system, the skill ball disappeared bit by bit, and at the same time, there were voices in his mind. It kept ringing. This is the system beep. This is the first product included. He has successfully become a middleman. Although it is only a first level middleman, it still enjoys a 10% discount when purchasing goods. This is because no matter where he goes to any world, first of all, he has to buy the goods from the system, and the purchase price is naturally the price fixed by the system. If he just buys and sells at such a cost price, it is naturally impossible for him to make any profit. However, it is different now. 10% off purchase discount. This means that he has a 10% discount on commodities worth 1000 transaction points, and he only needs 900 transaction points to purchase them. Then, even if he only trades commodities worth 1000 transaction points of the same level, there are still 100 transaction points in the middle the difference, so that's the profit he gets. Certainly. Who said that level 3 products can only be traded to level 3 products? As a professional middleman, Yafu said that he would feel a blood loss if he did not sell the 3rd level products at the price of the 4th level products. After all, he only made a little price difference of 100 million, so of course he had to earn a little more to feel at ease. Besides, it is the grade price of the commodity. Here in the system, the total price of goods is divided into multiple levels, the lowest level is naturally level 1, and then, continue to upgrade, level 2, level 3, level 4, to level 9, level 10. Skills, level 1 products, can almost make one enemy 10. As for level 2 products, 1 is against 100. Level 3 products are 1 enemy against 1000. Level 4 products are 1 against 10,000, almost like the Hokage level powerhouses of the villages in Hokage, or the level of Luffy in Pirates after 2 years of training, which is almost the same. Level 5 product, dubbed as a moving natural disaster, has amazing destructive power, for example, Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama in the Hokage world, Whitebeard in the Pirate world, 4 Emperors and the Captain in the Shinigami world. A level 6 product that can destroy satellites like the moon. Level 7 commodities, planetary levels. Level 8 merchandise, stellar tiers. Level 9 merchandise, tiers of galaxies. Level 10 commodity, the level of the universe. This is his product level list given by the system. As for the price of such a commodity. Level 1, 100 trading points. Level 2, 500 trading points. Level 3, 1000 trading points. Level 4, 5000 transaction points. Level 5, 10,000 transaction points. Level 6, 50,000 transaction points. Level 7, 100,000 transaction points. Level 8, 500,000 transaction points. Level 9, 1 million transaction points. Level 10, 10 million transaction points. The higher the commodity level, the more trading points are required. And as a middleman, of course, there is also its own division, which is the same as the product level, from level 1 to level 10. Level 1 middleman, enjoy 10% discount. Level 2 brokers enjoy a 20% discount. Level 3 middleman, enjoy 30% discount. Level 4 brokers enjoy a 40% discount. Level 5 middlemen, enjoy 50% discount. Level 6 brokers enjoy a 40% discount. Level 7 brokers enjoy a 30% discount. Level 8 brokers enjoy a 20% discount. Level 9 intermediaries enjoy a 10% discount. Level 10 intermediaries can directly purchase goods for free. Therefore, the higher the level of a middleman, the more discounts he will enjoy. Even the highest level of middleman allows him to buy goods directly for free, which is really cool. And the upgrade side of the middleman's level. It is determined by the difference in trading points earned. Tier 1 intermediaries need to earn 100 trading points for upgrading. Level 2 intermediaries need to earn 1000 trading points difference for upgrading. Level 3 intermediaries need to earn 10,000 trading points for upgrading. Level 4 brokers need to earn 50,000 transaction points for upgrading. Level 5 intermediaries need to earn 100,000 trading points for upgrading. Level 6 brokers need to earn 1 million trading points for upgrading. Level 7 intermediaries need to earn 5 million trading points to upgrade. Level 8 intermediaries need to earn 10 million trading points to upgrade. Level 9 intermediaries need to earn 100 million trading points to upgrade. Therefore, the only way to improve the level of a middleman is to require him to complete transactions one after another. An aside. Butterfly endured the whole process of watching Yefu's operation, and was dumbfounded. What is that ball of light coming out of me? Dai endured looking at Yefu, and after a moment of silence, asked. When the miraculous scene just happened, he subconsciously suspected that Yefu might be a ghost. After all, such a miraculous ability can only be achieved by the blood ghost technique of ghosts. But Yefu's whole body was under the sun's rays. If the other party was a ghost, the other party would have died under the sun's rays. Therefore, the possibility of ghosts was quickly ruled out by Butterfly Ninja. Your worm's breath. After successfully collecting the first product and becoming a first-level middleman, he is also in a good mood. What's more, there is a reward for free purchase, which is the capital for him to go to other worlds to trade with others. He was in a great mood, and after hearing Butterfly Shinobi's words, he answered the other party readily. Insect breath? Just that ball of light, it's so possible. After getting the answer, Butterfly Shinobu looked at Yefu in disbelief. Just such a ball of light is the breath of worms, which is too nonsense. The world is huge, and there are so many things you haven't seen before, but don't worry, I just copied a copy of the insect's breath from your body, and you won't have any influence. After all, Yefu also sat back and continued to take out the PSP from the system space to play. Chapter 6. Copy, just copy the worm's breath that I have worked so hard to practice so easily. Butterfly was stunned on the spot. Learning to breathe, this process, she and her sister put in so much effort to learn it, but now, Yefu has copied it so easily, which is a direct negation of her efforts. You have mastered my worm's breath. Butterfly Shinobu couldn't help asking. No, it's just that your worm's breath has become a commodity of mine. Why should I learn this stuff? I don't need to kill ghosts. Kaido didn't look up from Yefu. Even if he wanted to learn, he wouldn't choose the breath of insects. Wouldn't it be good to go to Tanjiro Kamado to learn the breath of the sun? Moreover, he has a chance to buy goods for free. If he buys this and uses it on himself, how can he go to other worlds to trade? The trading points on his account are 0, the system didn't give him 180,000 trading points for him to use at will. Therefore, even if he wants to buy system products and use them on himself, he has to go through a few transactions and become rich with the trading points on hand. I heard from my lord that you know a lot. Do you know the whereabouts of Tong Mo, the second part of the first string? Butterfly leaned closer to Yefu and asked. At this moment, she finally revealed her real purpose this time, Tong Mo's whereabouts. Her sister Butterfly Chanahui died in Tong Mo's hands. She wished she could tear Tong Mo into pieces, but she couldn't find Tong Mo's whereabouts, so she got the Lord's order early this morning, and after the Lord praised Yefu, she was instantly moved. The Lord Master respects Yefu so much, which shows that the other party really knows a lot. Maybe, if the other party knows Tong Mo's whereabouts, even if there is only a slight possibility, that's for her. That was definitely a big deal. You said that pervert Tong Mo who has no feelings and likes to eat women. I know, what's wrong? Yefu said without looking up. He has already completed all the comics of Ghost Slayer, Blade, and he indeed knows the whereabouts of Tong Mo. The second part of the first string, Tong Mo, was the leader of the Bliss sect during the human period. He couldn't understand human feelings. So far, he is also the leader of the Eternal Bliss sect. If you want to find Tong Mo, the first way is to look for traces of the Eternal Bliss sect. After all, Ziwei Inashuk's mother, Ziwahira Inashuk was a baby. Because she couldn't bear the violence of her husband and mother-in-law, she sought refuge in the Bliss cult. The husband and mother-in-law went to look for it, but they were killed by Tong Mo. Ziwahira Kotoi found out the secret of Tong Mo's eating believers, and ran away with Ziwahira Inashuk, but after running on the cliff, there was no way to escape, and finally, before he died, he left Ziwahira Inashuk cliff and let it float down the river. It's been 10 years since this happened. Therefore, Tong Mo is still the leader of the Bliss sect. Certainly. I am more sure that the other party is still the leader of the Bliss sect, or because later, in the decisive battle of Zhumi, when Butterfly Ninja faced Tong Mo ate women and covered the ground with corpses. Believers. Therefore, it can be seen that the identity of the leader of the Eternal Bliss cult of the other party still exists. See here. To find each other's words, you just need to follow the clues to find the traces of the Eternal Bliss cult. You really know. Dai endured, her eyes widening. She couldn't believe that she had been looking for the news about Tong Mo for several years, but someone really knew about it. At this moment, her heart was beating violently. This feeling of joy made her very excited. But she also quickly suppressed her excitement and calmed down. Master Yefu, can you please tell me the whereabouts of Tong Mo? Please. Butterfly Ninja's name for Yefu has also changed, pleading. Don't think about it, you are the only one who can't beat Tong Mo. Injecting wisteria flower juice into the blood to let Tong Mo eat your plan, it will only make Tong Mo weak. You still need someone to help Tong Mo. Only after falling into weakness can Tong Mo be defeated. The most important point is, why should I tell you Tong Mo's whereabouts? Yefu stopped what he was doing, looked at Butterfly Shinobi, looked at him, and said flatly. Does he seem like the kind of selfless person? He is just a businessman. Even if Yoyubayashiki wants to get news about Anime Suji Mumi from him, this is only after the agreement between the two parties is confirmed, the transaction will be carried out. Therefore, the other party has to pay something. After the voice fell, Butterfly couldn't help thinking of something, but looked at Yefu with an ugly expression. After a moment of silence. If you are willing to tell me about Tong Mo, I will. Butterfly said this with difficulty. In her opinion, Yefu just took a fancy to her body, so, under all kinds of entanglements, she thought for a long time, Yefu is the guest of the Lord, she can't just threaten him like this for her own affairs. Moreover, the other party's indifferent appearance must have some confidence in his heart to ensure his own safety. If you shoot at the opponent yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can get what you want. Then, after struggling in her heart, her hatred for Tong Mo still prevailed. So, just said such a thing. But Yefu. After listening to Butterfly Ninja's words, his head was full of question marks. Did you misunderstand something? Although I, Yefu, am not the kind of gentleman, I am not the kind of shameless person. How could you think that I want you? Yefu looked at Butterfly Shinobu strangely and said. Ha! Butterfly endured the expression on his face for a moment, as if he hadn't reacted and was stuck. Who do you think I am? What I want is money, enough money, in exchange for information about Tongmo here. Yefu also said helplessly to Butterfly. So you were talking about money, I thought. Butterfly Shinobu's cheeks turned red in an instant, and she actually misunderstood where she was going. Now that she made it clear, she is now so embarrassed that she can dig out a luxury house with her feet. Chapter 7. However, the paper money in your world is worth waiting for coins. That thing is useless to me. What I need is gold. Naturally, it is impossible for him to hold the coins of this world in his hands. It should be said that the coins of this world are only useful in this world. If it is another world, the flowers will not be spent. So, what's the use of asking for it? Exactly so. He chose gold. Gold, at least in most worlds, can be said to be an unimpeded hard currency. The world he will go to at that time is not 1 or 2 worlds, and he can use some gold to spend in other worlds. Certainly. Butterfly Ninja is rich, how can a pillar have no money? But this is the information of the second winding. If Yoya Yubayashiki knows, it's just some gold, how rich his Yubayashiki clan is it short of this little gold? I will definitely pay generously. After all, before dealing with Wu Mi, if they can get rid of Tong Mo and Shang Xian too, it will undoubtedly greatly reduce the strength around Wu Mi. In this way, when dealing with Wu Mi, they can also free up more people come to deal with Wu Mi. I'm going to discuss it with my lord. Butterfly fled in a hurry. It would be too embarrassing to stay here any longer. The best way to relieve the embarrassment is to leave here quickly and get away from Yefu, so that she doesn't have to be embarrassed any longer. It's not bad to exchange information for some gold. He can use gold, but intelligence, it's useless to keep it in his hands. Then there is. In the world's most critical breathing method, he has already reached a deal with Yuya Yubayashiki. After collecting the product of breathing method, it seems that there are no other products that need to be included. Therefore, at least it is a good choice to exchange the information you know for some gold as a backup. Subsequently, Yefu took out his PSP again and started playing. In such an era, only the things he brought with him can relieve his fatigue a little bit. The other side. After Butterfly Shinobu left, he went directly to Yayashiki. After the meeting, she also told the matter directly. In this case, I will ask someone to prepare some gold to exchange information on winding with His Excellency Yefu. Winding information. This thing can be bought with gold. Yefu's one-handed operation really made Yashiki Yoya a little dumbfounded. But gold only. How much money the Yuyashiki clan spent to exterminate ghosts, after hundreds of years, that is an astonishing sum. A little bit of gold. Compared with the money spent for hundreds of years, it is not worth mentioning at all. Moreover, if they can get information about the ghosts of Shang Xian, it will be quite beneficial for their ghost-killing team. They will lay an ambush in advance, surround the ghosts of Shang Xian, and fight the ghosts of Shang Xian. If this can kill the ghost of the string, it will definitely be a feat that has never been achieved by the ghost-killing team for hundreds of years. Therefore, for this kind of thing, Yubayashiki Yaya is very happy to see such a situation happen. Shinobu, I know you really want to avenge your sister, but I also hope you calm down. The ghost of the string is not so easy to deal with. Even if we get the information, we should make a good plan and start attacking it. Yuya Yubayashiki suddenly spoke to Butterfly Shinobu. My lord, I understand. Butterfly took a deep breath and responded. She naturally knew why Yuya Yubayashiki said such things to her suddenly. That was persuading her. After persuading her not to get the information, she was blinded by hatred and chose to act alone. That's good, Shinobu, you can communicate more with His Excellency Yefu, although the time of contact with him is very short, but in my opinion, the other party is an extremely mysterious person, maybe, there is something in him that can let you take revenge alone. The ability is also uncertain. Before leaving, Yuya Yubayashiki said such a sentence to Butterfly Shinobu. After hearing this, Butterfly Ninja thought of the misunderstanding between herself and Yefu, and her cheeks flushed. Even if I have seen a lot of wind and waves. But it hasn't been long since the misunderstanding happened, and now she is really embarrassed to see Yefu again. After thinking about it, she temporarily gave up the idea of meeting Yefu. Then she went back to the butterfly house. Time flies by. No time for anyone to react. But for Yefu, in the past few days, the pillars of the ghost-killing team have also arrived one by one, and he naturally included all the breathing methods of these people in his product catalog. To go. The quantity of goods has also been greatly improved. And during this period, he has also met people other than Zhu, such as Naruto of the previous generation, who is my wife Zanai's master, Kawashima Jigoro. Breath of Thunder followed suit. A total of 11 breathing methods. Of course, in addition to these 11 breathing methods, there are also the breath of the sun, the breath of the moon, and the breath of the beast of Zora Inashuk. These 3 breathing methods have not become a commodity in his catalog. This is of course regrettable. But 11 breathing methods, which is enough to show the richness of his harvest this time. For just paying a little bit of information about Oni Wusuji, and getting this, he has already made a lot of money. Unfortunately, it is impossible to obtain transaction points without purchasing from system commodities and selling them again. If only information is used for transactions, then this time, it can be said that he made a fortune at 0 cost. 11 level 3 commodities, 0 cost, if you really want to count, that is the income of 11,000 transaction points. After Yefu analyzed the data, he was so distressed that he died. Damn the system! They all follow the rules of breaking the restrictions, otherwise, he would definitely make a fortune. Chapter 8. In addition, in the past few days, Yefu also received gold from Uyashiki. Chunks of gold. There were several boxes, which made him feel that the Yubayashiki clan was really rich. Of course, he also accepted the trend, but he also gave the information about Kamaizu no Riku and Kamaizuru. The others, of course, also have intelligence. But compared with Luoji and Tong Mo, the other Shangxian didn't have a clear location at all, but he told them directly about the abilities of the other Shangxian ghosts anyway. Certainly. Even after getting the information, it is not so easy to act. First of all, Oni Wusuji has the ability to see everything through the sight of ghosts, so if anyone starts to do something, if a fallen princess or Tong Mo dies in killing ghosts after the hands of the team, Boss Scrap might just call all the 12 ghost moons to Infinity City. Not sure. There will be some layoffs. Cut off the ghost of the string. If something like this really happened, it would undoubtedly be an act of alarming the snake for the members of the ghost-killing team. Therefore, they have to investigate and determine its location. Then both sides work together. Take advantage of the trend and take down the 2 winding ghosts. In this way, that is a big victory. But for Yefu, this doesn't matter much. It would be boring for him to stay here after collecting the breathing method. So, he is ready to go to the next world. As a middleman, of course you have to make money non-stop. Are you ready to go? Yefu put on his own clothes, tidied himself up, and was about to leave when a voice sounded. The person who spoke was Butterfly Shinobi. After that misunderstanding, the other party obviously overcame the embarrassing misunderstanding and approached him the next day. Then they talked a lot between the two of them. Pulled a bunch. In the end, the other party brought the topic to the topic that the other party wanted to talk about. Ask him if there is nothing here that can make her kill Tong Mo. Of course Yefu answered, not yet. This is the first world he has come to, and the breathing method has just been included, how could there be something that can kill Tong Mo? After knowing, Butterfly Shinobu didn't continue to ask. In the next few days, Butterfly Ninja also runs to him every day, and over time, the relationship between the two is pretty good. Of course, as a businessman, I can't continue to spend time here. Yefu nodded and said. Didn't you come back after you left? Butterfly asked a question. I'm a businessman. As long as this world still has value in my opinion, I will come back. Yefu smiled and said. Is there no value in this world other than breathing? Of course not. You know, there are still some special things in this world. Madara lines, penetrating the world. Isn't this worthless? So, he will definitely be back. Commoditizing these two abilities is a must. Besides, there are also items of goods. These things, even after the system has included the product catalog, the system is still infinitely recyclable. Of course, the same product type has only 1/10 of the recycling value of the skill type. For example, the level is a level 1 item type. Commodity, only worth 10 trade points. Although the price is very low. However, the victory can be won by quantity. For example, the Japanese knife of the ghost killing team is estimated by the system to be a level 2 commodity. If it is recycled, a Japanese knife can be given a price of 50 trading points if the quantity is more. That would be a big deal. 20 sun wheel knives can be recycled to buy a level 3 skill product. Certainly. The premise is that the forging knife village can really make so many sun-shaped knives so quickly. It is not that simple to make a sun wheel knife. First, there must be suitable materials. Secondly, there is a problem of manpower. No matter how a forging knife village can make a sun wheel knife, there is a limit within a month. But, in addition, there are medicinal materials. This can also be regarded as an item commodity, and it is also infinitely recyclable. However, it needs to be old enough to reach the corresponding level. The lowest level is level 1. It takes 10 years of medicinal materials to be considered a level 1 item commodity. But this is enough to make Yuya Yubayashiki and others excited. The mystery of Yefu can be seen in Madara. He gave the news of Wumi, and also gave the information of the ghost who wound up. Naturally, they would not be so stupid as to think that the so-called trading points were useless. Therefore, during this period of time, Yuya Yubayashiki issued several orders to go down, first, to find the news of the blue Higan flower, second, to confirm the location of Yuji and Tongmo, and third, to collect a large number of medicinal materials and Japanese knives weight for something of value. All these actions are preparations for dealing with Wumi in the future. A month later, I will come again. At that time, I will also bring some special products, which should help you improve your strength. Of course, if your trading points are not enough, then there is nothing I can do. Yefu said to Butterfly. After finishing speaking, he also waved his hand, and a light door appeared in front of him. Immediately, he stepped into it, and disappeared the next moment. Chapter 9. On an Endless Sea. East Blue Sea Restaurant. Here, a riot has just occurred. After Eagle Eye, the 7 warlords of the sea, split Krieg's boat with a knife, Zoro also saw the world's #1 swordsman. Naturally, he was excited and went up directly. At first, he played with a knife, but later, he recognized Zoro. After a series of things happened. Hawkeye was also preparing to leave. But at this moment, a door of light suddenly appeared. This strange phenomenon immediately attracted everyone's attention. Everyone cast their eyes on it, and then, a figure also stepped out of it. Finally, landed on a small boat. Coming. It was Yefu who had just left Ghost Slayer world. Is this the pirate world? It's the sea. Yefu glanced at the sea, sighed with emotion, and then carefully paid attention to the surrounding situation. Straw Hat, it should be Luffy, And this outfit, Hawkeye? So, this is when the scene of the restaurant on the sea happens. After everything around came into his eyes, he made an analysis instantly. All of a sudden, he judged that it was time for the plot of Pirate World. Boy, are you ready to stand silently on my boat like this? At this time, Hawkeye spoke up. It wasn't that he wanted to talk, but he was about to leave if he couldn't help it, but the other party suddenly appeared, and he also appeared on his boat. This kind of method naturally made it impossible for him to underestimate the other party. But, just at that moment, after he observed each other carefully, he suddenly found out. The other party really made him unable to see anything special, just the muscles alone. He looked like an ordinary person at all. Could it be that he has hidden Fang Yin deeply? Ah, sorry. Ye Fu looked down, and saw that the place where he was standing now was a small sailboat with eagle eyes. He also didn't expect that after he came to Pirate World, the place where he landed was actually on Hawkeye's boat. Hey, I don't know why, this sentence seems a little weird. 7 warlords of the sea, Dracula my hawk, right? Ye Fu straightened his face, looked at Hawkeye, and said. Why is he here this time? Isn't it because he wants to come to Pirate World to make a deal so that he can make a fortune? At the beginning, his idea was to find Luffy and others in East Blue. In this way, using the breathing method as an introduction, maybe you can take the opportunity to complete a good deal, if you can exchange Luffy's fruit ability. Then he still has to make a fortune. That is the form of human fruit, phantasmal beast, and Nika. Although, before coming here, he didn't know its value or what level of product it was in, but according to his estimation, Luffy's fruit ability could at least be ranked as a 4th level among him. Using the breathing method of level 3 goods to trade with level 4 goods, plus another chance for him to buy goods for free, so if he completes the transaction, he can earn 5,000 trading points in an instant. Thinking about it makes people very heartbroken. But now his plans seem to need a little change. Hawkeye is here. Shouldn't this directly place the transaction partner on Hawkeye? This is in case missed. This is the next deal. Isn't it going to be a long time? What's up? The sharp eyes of the eagle stared directly at Ye Fu, and asked calmly. It's my first meeting, please allow me to introduce myself. It's my first time to come to this world as a businessman in Xiaowenja. I didn't expect to meet a high-quality customer like Mr. Hawkeye. It's really an honor for me. Ye Fu introduced himself very gracefully. Merchant of myriad worlds. First time in this world. Hawkeye noticed the most critical point in Ye Fu's language. Aren't you a demon fruit power? Hawkeye asked. Originally, in his opinion, Ye Fu suddenly appeared here through the light gate, which is a kind of devil fruit ability, so he subconsciously regarded Ye Fu as demon fruit power. But listen now. Ye Fu doesn't seem to be a capable person. But he will not completely trust the other party just because of the other party's one-sided words. After all, people from other worlds, such words are too ridiculous. It seems that Your Excellency Hawkeye doesn't believe it. It doesn't matter. I brought some products here, and one of them I think your strength should be improved for Your Excellency Hawkeye. You can experience it, so that you can prove it. My words are true and false. Ye Fu looked at Hawkeye with a smile on his face. He knew that the other party was still doubting his identity. After all, speaking like this, it was as if he was walking by himself, and finally met a master who claimed to have peerless martial arts, to sell him a few martial arts cheats. Who can believe this? Therefore, the method he needs to convince Hawkeye is also very simple, that is to use some things to prove himself. Then he raised his hand, and a ball of light the size of a ping-pong ball also appeared on his palm. He waved his hand, and then, this ball of light also flew in the direction of Hawkeye. Chapter 10. Hawkeye also stared at the ball of light floating towards him, and subconsciously activated armament haki to cover his body, preparing to resist the approach of the ball of light. But the speed of the ball of light fell on him very quickly. Moreover, it directly passed through the protection of his armament haki and merged into his body. "What have you done?" Hawkeye looked at Yefu vigilantly, and there was some change in his tone. "Don't worry, I just let His Excellency Hawkeye experience the effect of the product. I think His Excellency Hawkeye should have some more memories about this product in his mind." Yefu explained slowly. Product experience. This is also one of his abilities after becoming a middleman. He has the right to let some customers experience the effect of the product. Of course, it is only a short 5-minute experience time. After 5 minutes have passed, the experience effect of the product will disappear instantly. As for customers who have experienced the product, it is also impossible to reproduce the method of using the product through memory. According to what the system says, every world has different rules. It's like the ability of World A. After obtaining World B, it is impossible for the other party to learn it, because the rules of the world are rejecting it. When rejecting the ability of other worlds to appear in his world, it is like an unqualified commodity, which will directly exclude it. Therefore, the chance of a successful re-engraving can be said to be zero. His system. It has the ability to label a qualified label on the ability of other worlds, and let the products of other worlds be used in this world with confidence. Of course, abilities cannot be taught or inherited. If you want to obtain abilities, you can only obtain them by purchasing from him, a middleman. This is the only opportunity to obtain abilities from other worlds. After Hawkeye listened to Yefu's words, I also thought about it. In an instant, he noticed the memory in his mind that seemed to appear in his mind out of thin air. Breath of flames, and sword skills. He also felt a little restless at the moment. Implanting a memory of an ability directly into his mind like this is really terrifying, and moreover, it is absolutely impossible for the other party to be demon fruit power. Just now he used armament haki to block the ball of light that was suspected to be the opponent's fruit ability, but the ball of light ignored his armament haki and entered his body. If the other party is really capable, the opponent's light ball should be blocked by his armament haki, but it wasn't, so the suspicion that the opponent is a capable person can be ruled out. But what he cares more about now is the ability to remember things that appear in his own mind. Breath of flame. Product experience itself is to allow customers to quickly experience the effect of the product, good or bad. So, even though he just had this experience, to Hawkeye, this breath of flame was like a skill he had learned for a long time. After he entered the state of breath of flame, he was instantly shocked. As a strong man, he can clearly perceive subtle changes in his body. Therefore, after entering the state of breath of flame, his physical abilities improved rapidly. How could he not notice this feeling? The so-called breathing method is actually a secret skill to increase the basic strength of one's own body. But this thing also varies from person to person. Assuming that the physical strength of a normal person is only 10, then if the increase effect of the breathing method is doubled, then after the normal person uses the breathing method, the physical strength will increase to 20, and it is still strength, speed, etc. Almost all aspects of the improvement. Of course, if the stronger the person uses the breathing method, the effect may or may not decrease. But the effect of the improvement is absolutely shocking. In a battle between strong men, if two strong men of similar strength fight, even a 10% increase can turn a loser into victory. For example, in the battle between Aokiji and Akainu, if Aokiji gains a 10% boost, the outcome of that battle may change. Aokiji and Akainu may end up in a tie, or it was Aokiji who defeated Akainu. So, do not underestimate this increase. For a strong person, even a little increase in strength is quite terrifying. Now, after the eagle eye in front of him noticed this change, his expression was instantly moved. Then he pulled out his saber, the supreme sharp knife yet, and swung the knife directly at the slightly stormy sea surface, and a flying slash fell towards the sea surface in an instant. Next moment. Boom! The sea was split open. It was just Hawkeye's simple swing of the knife, which directly split the sea into two. This scene. Everyone present was shocked. Chapter 11. Big, the sea has been split. This is the monster from the Grand Line. The legendary number 1 swordsman in the world is actually so powerful. A group of people who have never seen the world were really shocked when they saw Hawkeye splitting the sea with a knife. Split the sea. Is this horse-riding man able to do things? This is simply a monster. Aside. Zoro, whose chest was slashed by Hawkeye, also struggled to get up. After seeing the sea split by Hawkeye, he fell silent. Is the gap between us so big? This made Zoro feel a little dazed. Hawkeye's knife. This is what really made him see how big the gap between himself and Hawkeye was. Really, it was so big that it was unimaginable. No wonder the opponent used a knife against him. Perhaps. In Hawkeye's eyes, he is now nothing but an ant wielding a sword at humans. But, seeing this scene, he did not despair because of the huge strength gap between the two. On the contrary, he has more motivation to work hard. This increase has increased my physical strength by at least 30%. If I continue to learn more about the breath of flame, it may increase even more. Hawkeye's face remained unchanged on the surface, but he took a deep breath in his heart. This increase is really scary. If it is spread, people in the whole sea will be excited about such a secret technique. Moreover, he is sure that this 30% increase is not the limit of this secret method. As long as he has an in-depth understanding of the breath of flame, there will be more improvements. For someone like him whose strength has already reached the bottleneck and is difficult to break through, such a thing is simply a blessing from heaven. I think Your Excellency Hawkeye should be very satisfied with my products. Yefu said with a smile on his face. The grade of the product does not represent the strength that the product can improve. The value of the product is the conclusion reached by the system after various measures. For example, Ji Koyuan Yi, this kind of coercion is not using the breath of the sun, and the strength of the whole body has reached level 4. Even, if it is not the reason of the world, if the world is changed, the opponent may be able to keep pace with Hawkeye up. Therefore, it can be seen that the level of breathing method does not mean that breathing method can only make people reach that level, and it is even possible to surpass that level. Perhaps, for a strong player whose strength has reached level 4 and level 5, breathing still has its benefits. It can make the strength of these level 4 or even level 5 powerhouses get a lot of boost. This little bit of improvement, it is enough to make these powerful people intoxicated. A very powerful secret technique, even if it is placed in the new world, the 4 emperors will be moved by it. Hawkeye said honestly. He doesn't even bother to lie, he just does what he should. This is only 5 minutes of experience time. If Your Excellency Hawkeye wants to fully possess this breath of flame, it depends on what His Excellency Hawkeye is willing to pay. Yefu said with a smile on his face. At this time, the fish is also hooked. He didn't believe it. After experiencing the effect of breath of flame, he didn't even have the slightest thought of being moved. What do you want? Money. Hawkeye looked at Yefu and asked. Armament haki and observation haki, I need these 2 things from Mr. Hawkeye. In New World, there are so many people who know haki. I think these 2 things are the most suitable commodities for trading. What do you think, Your Excellency Hawkeye? If you pay these 2 things, the breath of flame will be yours. Yefu said. The reason why he targets Hawkeye is of course for the 2-color haki on the opponent. Although Hawkeye's swordsmanship was also good, but after thinking about it for a long time, he gave up the idea of choosing Hawkeye's swordsmanship. Because most swordsmanship is only liked by swordsmen, the audience is too small. Armament haki is different from observation haki. For a person who wants to improve his own strength, No matter who he is, who would not want to add a defensive ability that can cover his body with an invisible armor? Moreover, this ability can also increase the attack power when attacking. As for observation haki, it goes without saying that with this kind of ability, you can completely reduce the number of times you are injured in battle. So, these two audiences are really too big. There are only these two commodities that can bring him huge profits by then. For example, after the transaction with Hawkeye is completed and the other party leaves, I can try to use two-color haki to trade with Luffy, and trade the other party's rubber fruit ability. Haki. How do you get my haki? Hawkeye asked Yefu. The other party is not from this world, he believed it a little bit, and that magical method made him secretly vigilant about what Yefu said about letting him use his own two-color haki to make a deal. After all, the opponent's ability is really too weird. This made him have to guard against. Don't worry, I just copied the two-color haki on your body, and it won't affect you. Yefu explained. Okay, I agree to the deal. Hawkeye readily agreed. To him. This breath of flame was placed in front of him, and it was impossible for him to ignore it and leave. Over the years, his strength has been improving, but the improvement is very limited. Now there is another thing that can greatly improve his strength again, and he just needs to pay the so-called two-color haki. Moreover, it is only a copy of his two-color haki, and it will not have any effect on himself. Such a deal. He simply made a lot of money. After all, in New World, there are too many people who know haki. Haki, it's not that advanced at all. If it was about his sword skills, he would still think about it for a while, but haki, forget it, it's a deal, it's not a rare treasure. Very well, the deal is concluded. After Yefu heard what Hawkeye said, a bright smile appeared on his face. Chapter 12. With a flick of Yefu's hand, a ball of light flew out of his hand. This time, Hawkeye didn't use haki to defend, just let the ball of light hit him and merge into his body. Condensed on the body. Followed. The two balls of light flew towards Yefu. Finally, it stopped in front of Yefu. Ding! Level 4 products Armament Haki and Observation Haki have been included successfully. Ding! This transaction is over, get 10,000 transaction points. Ding! Successfully complete a transaction and earn a transaction point difference, 10,000. Ding! Level 1 Intermediary Upgrade Conditions to earn 100 trading points price difference reached, upgrading. Ding! Congratulations to host for becoming a Level 2 Intermediary. Ding! Level 2 Intermediary Upgrade Conditions to earn 1000 trading points price difference reached, upgrading. Ding! Congratulations to host for becoming a 3rd level middleman. Ding! Level 3 Intermediary Upgrade Conditions to earn 10,000 trading points price difference reached, upgrading. Ding! Congratulations to host for becoming a level 4 middleman. Following the success of this transaction, a series of reminders kept ringing in Yefu's mind. According to the judgment of the system, Armament Haki and Observation Haki are level 4 commodities, and the value of one level 4 commodity is 5,000 transaction points, and the sum of two items is naturally 10,000 transaction points. The reason why he purely earned 10,000 trading points was also because he had a chance to buy goods for free. And he used this opportunity, of course, on this breath of flame. But, to him, this deal is definitely a bloodbath. A total of 10,000 trading points is enough for him to exchange for a level 5 product. Of course, the premise is that there are level 5 products among the products he includes. And his middleman level has also met the upgrade requirements, earning a full 10,000 transaction point difference, directly upgrading his level 1 middleman to level 4 middleman. Level 1 intermediaries have a 10% discount on the purchase of goods. Level 2 is 20% off. Level 3 is 30% off. Now, as a level 4 middleman, he enjoys a level 6 discount. Thinking of this, Yafu felt flattered. What does that mean? This means that the original price of armament haki and observation haki for level 4 products is 5,000 transaction points, but he can buy them for 3,000 transaction points with a 40% discount, which can save him 2,000 transaction points. Isn't that amazing? But there shouldn't be many cases where his middleman's level has been raised by several levels at once like this. This thing is like an upgrade in the game. It is very easy to upgrade when the level is low, but when the level is high, it is almost doubling the previous upgrade time. But Yafu was not in such a hurry either. Some things naturally have to be done slowly, and there is not much use in rushing. What's more, his system is relatively free, and there is no dog chasing him, urging him to complete a transaction quickly. And in this little time, Hawkeye has completely absorbed the skill of Breath of Flame. It has been passed down for hundreds of years, and generations of people have continuously studied and improved sword skills. Although the world where he was born is not as powerful as the world of Pirates Force. However, the sword moves among them also benefited Hawkeye a lot. Fencing. It is through continuous absorption, and then turned into the nutrients of his own swordsmanship, so that his swordsmanship can be improved. Even though he just acquired the sword skill of the Breath of Flame. But Hawkeye felt that he really made a lot of money in this transaction. He needs time to absorb what he has gained this time. So, the transaction has been completed. Boss, how long are you going to stay on my ship? Hawkeye looked at Yafu and asked. He has gained quite a lot this time, and now he doesn't want to stay here any longer. He wants to go back to his own territory and absorb the gains this time. But I can't stand it. Yafu is still standing on his boat. How does this make him leave? Sorry. Yafu said with an apologetic face. Afterwards, he also quickly jumped from Hawkeye's small sailboat to the board that was cut into ruins by Hawkeye and floated on the sea. Fine. The distance is not too far, otherwise, he might have to ask Hawkeye to help him to the ship in the sea restaurant. Hawkeye saw it. He also jumped back to his boat and sat down. This is ready to leave. But when he left, he asked a question. Boss, what's your name? Hawkeye's voice sounded like this. Didn't I tell you? Yafu scratched his head in doubt, and said to himself. This made Hawkeye feel like rushing up to punch Yafu twice. Explain? You said a thread. When you introduced yourself, you just introduced yourself as a businessman from the 10,000 realms, and you didn't even mention your name. After thinking about it, Yafu also realized that when he introduced himself just now, he did not give his name. This made Yafu feel a little embarrassed. I introduced myself, but I didn't introduce my name. It's really embarrassing to appear this time. Yafu, this is my name. He took a deep breath, eased his embarrassment, and reported his name to Hawkeye. Yafu, boss, I remember your name. Hawkeye took a deep look at Yafu and said. Afterwards, his small coffin boat also moved slowly and gradually left. Chapter 13. Hawkeye left. But things are not over here. Because for Yafu, there are other customers. His eyes fell on Luffy. Now, in his eyes, the other party became different. Just because in his line of sight, he saw Luffy's worth, that is, what the other party possessed that could become a commodity. Item 4 Conqueror's Haki. Level 5 Product Human Fruit Phantom Beast Nika Form. Seeing this, Yafu couldn't help but want to take a breath in his heart. Customer is God. Just now a god left, and now, there is still a god here. Moment. Yafu's mood improved a lot. Now, he has to fool as much as possible, to persuade this god to complete the deal with him. After all, he was very interested in the level 4 product Conqueror's Haki on the other party, and the level 5 product Human Fruit Phantom Beast NICA form. As for why Haki is only classified as a level 4 commodity, while Luffy's fruit ability is classified as a level 5 commodity, he naturally does not know the reason. It is determined by the system. What kind of data was used to calculate this, he had no idea to know. Anyway, he is just a middleman. He only needs to complete a transaction and earn a price difference of billion. Earned. That's all good. Monkey D. Luffy, hey. I don't know if you are interested in making a deal with me. Yefu said to Luffy with a smile on his face. But, I have no money. Luffy grinned and said. A look that didn't take the fact that he didn't have money to heart at all. Yefu, who watched, was speechless. This nervousness is the same as depicted in the comics. My transactions generally do not trade money. Yefu explained. Just now you also saw the deal between me and Hawkeye. I have these two products in my hand now, Armament Haki and Observation Haki. I think you should be more interested. Yefu raised his hand, and two balls of light appeared on his palm. Oh! Luffy, however, picked his nose and looked at him without much expression on his face. This look made him want to beat him up. Be patient, this girl has such a personality, hold on, the customer is God. Yefu took a few deep breaths, and kept repeating such words in his heart, suppressing his anger. 10 seconds later. He calmed down. Armament Haki and Observation Haki are both necessary abilities in the second half of the Grand Line. If you don't even learn Haki and enter New World, it is undoubtedly a little white rabbit who has entered the wolf's den, purely looking for death. The so-called Armament Haki is an ability to improve one's own defense and attack power. At the same time, it can also attack demon fruit power. You should know what it feels like when your grandpa hits you. Observation Haki is an ability to detect the breath and emotional changes of surrounding creatures. It can also be used to predict and avoid danger. Those who are stronger can see the short future. What, Luffy, are you interested in Haki? Yefu also gave a brief introduction. What he said was too complicated, and he was really worried that the somewhat retarded Luffy in front of him would not be able to understand what he said, so he tried to explain it in a concise and simple way as much as possible. So that's the case, I understand. Luffy also looked enlightened after listening to it. But Yefu looked at the other party's appearance. The other party should, maybe, probably, you understand. Luffy, as the captain, if you are not strong enough, you can't protect the crew on your ship. So, are you interested in trading? After learning Armament Haki and Observation Haki, your strength can also increase a lot. In this way, the crew on your ship can be better protected. He said in an unhurried tone. These words, immediately, evoked a thread in Luffy's heart. Speaking of partners. For him, that's important. Although he is heartless, he attaches great importance to his partners, so. Then what can I use to make a deal with you? Luffy also straightened his face, and said seriously to Yefu. This changes. It is completely different from the previous Luffy. It made Yefu uncomfortable to adapt to Luffy's sudden change. An Armament Haki and an Observation Haki, I'll trade your Conqueror's Haki and Devil Fruit abilities with you. Yefu said what he wanted. Although the Conqueror's Haki on Luffy has not yet awakened, but the other party does have Conqueror's Haki, this kind of thing is innate, not like the two kinds of Haki of Armed Color and Knowledge Color, which need to be cultivated the day after tomorrow. Perhaps it is because of innate reasons, so in the system's judgment, Luffy has the Conqueror's Haki level 4 product. Conqueror's Haki. What's this? I have something like this on me. Luffy also looked dumbfounded, and said inexplicably. That's your innate ability, but you haven't awakened yet. Yefu explained. Okay, let's make a deal. Luffy grinned, showing a big smile, and said. He has some god-tier experience, but he is not stupid. He was watching the deal between Yefu and Hawkeye, so he has some understanding of the deal Yefu made. Just copy the power on him. Just in this way, he can get 2 abilities in exchange. He really made a lot of money. Very good, the transaction is established. A cooperative smile appeared on Yefu's face. Then, as a middleman, he bought an armament haki and an observation haki at a 40% discount, which cost him a total of 6,000 transaction points. Originally there were 10,000 trading points, but only 4,000 trading points were left. With the moment the purchase is successful, the light ball on his palm also changed from an experience product to a real product, and with a flick of his hand, the light ball also flew towards Luffy. All of a sudden, it just submerged directly into Luffy's body. Chapter 14. Ding! The level 4 product Conqueror's Haki and the level 5 product Human Fruit Phantom Beast NICA form have been recorded successfully. Ding! This transaction is over, get 15,000 transaction points. Ding! Successfully complete a transaction and earn the difference in trading points, 9,000. After the transaction is completed, the 2 abilities were also included in the product catalog. At the same time, he just consumed 6,000 trading points of purchase cost, and instantly earned back 15,000 trading points. At present, his trading points have reached as many as 19,000, and his transaction price difference is also the same. It can be regarded as a big profit. 19,000 trading points are enough for him to buy a lot of things. But alas! If he wants to upgrade his middleman level again, that needs to reach a price difference of 50,000 trading points. So far, he was still 31,000 trading points away. Therefore, he still has a long way to go before being a level 5 middleman. Is this haki? What a magical power! And here, after Luffy entered the body with the 2 items, he has already reached the entry level for observation haki and armament haki, which is the level of learning. Naturally, it is impossible for the buyers of the skill goods sold from him to directly learn the skill goods to a very frightening level. To know haki's cap, it's not at the level of level 3 strength. Wouldn't it be a blood loss if the buyer could directly obtain the power of level 4 or even level 5 just by paying the purchase price of a level 3 commodity? So, all skill-based products are only for buyers to reach the level of entry and just learned. That's why Hawkeye left in a hurry. He has only just learned the breath of flame, and of course he has to absorb this breath of flame well, so that he can get the benefits of breath of flame and implement it thoroughly on him. And Luffy, too. Luffy, who has obtained armament haki and observation haki, naturally feels that these 2 powers are very magical. But Krieg on the side felt uncomfortable. Who is he? Pirate Admiral. What a proud person. Just now, Hawkeye ignored him, so forget it. Who told the other party that the knife that split the sea just now completely frightened him into stupidity? When Hawkeye was about to leave just now, he didn't dare to make a sound. Woke up. Stop, Hawkeye! I'm afraid I don't think I've lived too long. Then he just stood aside, silently waiting for Hawkeye to leave. In his heart, he also wished that Hawkeye would ignore him quickly, otherwise, no matter what the other party's reason was for destroying his pirate fleet, as long as the other party had the intention to kill him, he would be completely finished. This kind of monster that splits the sea with one knife. It's not something he can handle at all. But it's different now. Hawkeye was gone. However, the 2 people in front of him are just nobody, yet they dare to ignore him, the pirate Admiral Krieg, which really makes him feel annoyed. This kind of thing is really getting more and more angry. Moment. He transferred the anger he had simmered against Hawkeye to Yefu and Luffy. You 2 bastards, how dare you ignore me? Krieg yelled at the 2 of them angrily. Next moment, he just took out his weapon, and the musket hidden on his body was instantly revealed. In an instant, he did not hesitate to attack Yefu and Luffy. However, the moment he spoke, Yefu was already ready. System, buy Conqueror's Haki, use it yourself. Yefu immediately chose to buy skills from the system. Originally, he is going to buy skills to improve his strength. After all, as a middleman, always relying on the system's protection mechanism can certainly save his life. However, because his life was threatened, he was forcibly taken out of this world. It would be too embarrassing. So, after the deal with Luffy, he is preparing to buy some skills to improve his own strength, so that he is no longer a weak chicken. Krieg next to him is clearly out of his mind. So that he can only purchase goods from the system in such a hasty situation. Ding! Consumed 9,000 transaction points and successfully purchased level 4 product armament Haki, level 4 product observation Haki, level 4 product conqueror's Haki. Ding! The ability has been used by the host. Congratulations to the host for obtaining armament Haki, entry, observation Haki, entry, Conqueror's Haki, entry. The system beeps. And at this moment, Yefu also learned Conqueror's Haki. At the same time, he even felt a substantial improvement in his physical fitness. However, it took only a second for him to digest and improve. But the next moment, bang bang bang! Gunshots rang out continuously. A round of bullets covered him and Luffy in an instant. Chapter 15. Moment. Observation Haki. Armament Haki. His body moved accordingly. Even though his observation Haki was only at the entry level, he could clearly perceive all the trajectories of the shells, so his body also dodged. Maybe it's because his physique has been improved after he exchanged Conqueror's Haki. Therefore, his control over his body has become even better. The reaction speed is also amazing. Normal people. How is it possible to dodge the bullet? But he literally dodged most of the bullets. But Krieg's attacks were too dense, so there was still a very small part of him that he didn't dodge. But the ability he just purchased from the system is not only observation Haki, but also armament Haki. With armament Haki's cover on his body part will be hit after the position. The bullets were also blocked one after another. Ha 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 ha. You know how powerful I am. You dare to ignore me, this is what will happen to you. After Krieg shot at Yefu and Luffy, as the shell exploded, a puff of smoke rose, and he also laughed out loud. At this moment, his mood can be described as extremely refreshing. At such a close distance, these two are screwed. Even if you don't die, you will be seriously injured. He is indeed the pirate Admiral Krieg, except for monsters like Hawkeye, no one else is his opponent. However, next moment, two figures rushed out from the thick smoke. It landed on the side of the shipboard which was relatively intact and could stand on it. It's really bad, my clean clothes are all stained by you. Yefu said to Krieg while patting the dust off his body. He is very upset now. What the hell? How dare you touch him? He has only been in pirate world for a long time, if this triggers the system's protection mechanism, he will be forcibly taken away from this new world. This is simply interfering with his business. To know. Once the system's protection mechanism is triggered, another restriction will be triggered, that is, the world that triggers the protection mechanism cannot be re-entered within the next month. Only after the 1-month cooling time has passed, can he re-enter this world where the protection mechanism has been triggered. So, he was very upset to see Krieg now. Although 2 transactions have been completed. But the feeling of leaving by yourself and being forced to leave and being banned for a month is completely different. Ever since. He glanced at his data panel. Host Yefu. Middleman level, level 4, 40% off. Strength level, level 2. Ability, armament Haki, entry, observation Haki, Entry, Conqueror's Haki, Entry. Trading points, 10,000. Earn price difference, 19,000. He owns the data panel of the system himself, but he didn't pay attention to it before because all the data on his previous data panel was bare. At that time, I felt that I was a poor man just by looking at it, so why bother to look at it? But it's different now. The data panel obviously looks better. And after he exchanged Conqueror's Haki, his strength level also increased from level 0 at the beginning, that is, the level of ordinary people, to level 2. It is estimated that it is based on the improvement of his physique and the knowledge he has mastered. Entry-level Conqueror's Haki, judged comprehensively. In skills. There are several levels of grading in the system, namely, Entry, Proficiency, Grandmaster, Mastery, and finally Perfection. There are 5 levels in total. This symbolizes the level of mastery of ability. And all the skill products are just the first level entry level. Certainly. There is no other way for others to improve this thing except for continuous cultivation. But he is a systematic person. Therefore, as a coward, there is naturally an exclusive way to improve the coquettish. That is, consume trading points to increase the proficiency level of skills. Now, the entry-level skills need 100 trading points to be upgraded. The level of proficiency requires 1000 transaction points to upgrade. Grandmaster requires 10,000 transaction points to upgrade. The final mastery requires a full 100,000 transaction points before it can be upgraded to perfection. There was not much investment in the early stage, but obviously there was a lot in the later stage. To upgrade a single ability to perfection, a total of 111,100 trading points would be needed, which may not seem like much, but in reality, could he only learn one ability? Right now Conqueror's Haki, it takes 333,300 transaction points to upgrade all to perfection. If there are some skills in the future, he felt that the trading points he had to invest in this would at least be in the millions. If he had the ability to learn more, it would not only be in the millions, but even tens of millions of trading points were possible. But at present, he still feels that his strength is too weak. Level 2 Strength. Fighting Krieg, I'm afraid he is just a little bit stronger than the opponent. How can he fight the opponent so embarrassingly? Of course, it is necessary to crush the opponent. So, system, raise all the proficiency levels of Conqueror's Haki to the level of Grandmaster. Yefu also chose to spend money without hesitation. Feel sorry. Why not Krypton Gold if you have money? How can you become stronger without Krypton Gold? Chapter 16. Ding. Consuming 3,300 transaction points abilities Armament Haki, Observation Haki, Conqueror's Haki proficiency is improving. Ding. The ability has been upgraded successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Armament Haki, Grandmaster, Observation Haki, Grandmaster, Conqueror's Haki, Grandmaster. The system beeps. A transaction point was also squandered by him, as a consumption to improve the proficiency of abilities. And with Yefu's Krypton Gold, the proficiency level of Conqueror's Haki has also been raised from beginner to Grandmaster one after another, and the price is that after he bought Conqueror's Haki, he only had 10,000 trading points left, and the trading points dropped sharply again one wave. Now there are only 6,700 trading points left. But after the proficiency of the ability is improved, Yefu's mastery of Conqueror's Haki's ability is like in an instant. After several years of hard training, it's like Luffy who just awakened Conqueror's Haki in Summit War, and was instantly replaced by Luffy who assembled and set off for New World 2 years later. Luffy's Haki is average. This feeling. For Yefu, there is only one word to describe it: cool. At the same time, it's not just his ability that has been improved. In addition, his physique seems to have been greatly improved after the proficiency of Conqueror's Haki has improved. Then, he glanced at the data panel again. Host Yefu. Middleman level, level 4, 40% off. Strength level, level 3. Ability, Armament Haki, Grandmaster, Observation Haki, Grandmaster, Conqueror's Haki, Grandmaster. Trading point, 6,700. Earn price difference, 19,000. His strength level has also been raised from level 2 to level 3, but Yefu feels that his strength should be at the peak level of level 3, and there is only a thin line between level 4 and level 4. Perhaps, after he raised his armament haki proficiency from Grandmaster to Master, he would be able to step into the 4th level of strength. But this, not very important. Because, his current strength is more than enough to deal with the Krieg in front of him. After all, Krieg isn't much of a character either. Trash, do you have any last words to say? Yefu's calm gaze swept across, and he said coldly. Little devil, what are you talking about? Laozi is the pirate Admiral Krieg, you dare to insult me, I will chop off your head and kick it as a ball. After hearing Yefu's words, Krieg became angry on the spot. He has never seen such an arrogant person. What the hell? He is the pirate Admiral Krieg. The bounty offered was as high as 17 million Baileys, and this brat who came out of nowhere dared to call him rubbish. Unnamed Junior. This is simply courting death. Dare to add fuel to the fire. Then, he will cut off the opponent's head. Say it. He directly picked up his weapon and fought the gun, aimed at Yefu's head and swung it fiercely. Don't look at the big guns, but the weight of this weapon is really 1 ton, 2,000 kilograms. In Krieg's hands, it can be said to be wielded freely and very easily. If this is converted to a girlfriend who weighs only 100 catties, it is the weight of 20 girlfriends. Certainly. It is impossible for a girlfriend to have a girlfriend. But, when Krieg swung down, there was a loud noise, not to mention cutting off one head, even if 10 people were standing together, when Krieg swung down, all 10 people's heads would fall in unison. Can. Yefu raised his hand. When. There was a sound like the collision of iron tools. At this moment, the large gun landed on the back of Yefu's hand, and stopped firmly. This blow. After being used armament haki by Yefu, it was easily blocked. Although the opponent's attack is indeed quite strong, but to Yefu, it's no more than this level. Is there no last word? If so, then I should send you on your way. Yefu looked directly at Krieg with icy eyes, and said calmly. Damn it! How could it be possible to block my attack with bare hands? How did you do it? Krieg's eyes widened in disbelief at what he saw. No one knows better than him how much effort he used just now. But that's it. His attack was blocked so easily by the opponent with a raised hand, which is simply too ridiculous. However, but Yefu didn't intend to talk nonsense with the other party. His glasses glared. Boom! An invisible force was released centered on him, and launched an impact on the surrounding people. Next moment. Boom! Boom! Boom 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 boom! The standing figures lost consciousness for a moment, and fell to the ground in a daze. Not just them. The guests of the restaurant on the sea, as well as the chef, also fell to the ground in a coma. On sight. There are very few people who can stand consciously. Conqueror's Haki. This is his new power. For the East Blue group of miscellaneous fish, it is impossible for them to resist a Conqueror's Haki in the past. You, what did you do? Krieg was in a trance. At that moment just now, his consciousness was shocked, and he was just a little bit close to falling to the ground in a faint just like his subordinates. As expected of the Admiral of the Pirates, he is still standing. It is worthy of praise. Yefu's voice came. This made Krieg's anger escalate a little more, it was simply too deceiving. Chapter 17. No matter what he said, he was also the admiral of the pirates. As a result, the other party teased him like this. But Yefu didn't give him any time to explode. Boom! He got close to Krieg in an instant and kicked him directly in the stomach. Vomit! At the foot, Krieg dropped to his knees, retching. At the same time, his hand holding the weapon was also released, and in the next second, his weapon and gun also fell into Yefu's hands. Swish! Pooh! Yefu grabbed the big gun, an armament haki also covered it, and swung it down at Krieg, who fell to the ground. In an instant, Krieg's head was chopped off by him. The battle is over. There is no entertainment in this battle. The process can be said to be one-sided crushing. The so-called pirate admiral was completely vulnerable to Yefu, and the latter completely ended his life as a pirate. Boss GP, the bounty for this guy's head, you can have a good meal at your sea restaurant. After Yefu finished Krieg, he turned his head to look at the red-footed GP, who was one of the few people still standing under the impact of his conqueror's haki, and now the other person is the owner of the restaurant on the sea. To be honest, he is a gourmet, of course, this title is his own. To be succinct, he's a foodie. It is his dream to taste all kinds of food. But when this dream arose, he knew that his dream could not be fulfilled, not because there were too many delicious foods, but because his wallet was not thick enough. Therefore, under the premise that he is no longer short of money, this dream is revived. He tasted the food of Ghost Slayer World for a few days, and it tasted very good. After all, it was the food specially arranged for him by the ghost killing team. And now, to the pirate world. The restaurant on the sea is close at hand, so he must not let him taste the food at the restaurant on the sea. Certainly. The more important reason for this is that he is now trying his best to suppress all kinds of complicated emotions after his first murder. Although he killed a scumbag. But to kill is to kill. A living life was easily erased by him. As a man who was in a peaceful age, he suddenly did this kind of thing. For him, the impact was quite big. But he also knew it was something he had to go through himself. In the future, he will travel many worlds. If he has the mentality and thoughts of a good person, although there is a systematic protection mechanism, if this protection mechanism is triggered, then he will have to wait for a month. Cool down time. Moreover, with the passage of time, the things on him were naturally coveted by many people, and he didn't worry about his own affairs if those people wanted to take action against him. But if the other party tried to kill him, if he didn't react at all, wouldn't he be out of his mind? Therefore, sooner or later, he has to face these people. What he needs to do is to plan ahead. Killing people is something that will inevitably happen, and it is also something that cannot be avoided. What he needs to do is to face it in advance. Then, for this kind of thing thoroughly, there will be no big reaction. Of course, this is a head with a bounty of 17 million Baileys, which is extremely valuable. Besides, if Mr. Yefu wants to taste the delicacies of my restaurant on the sea, I am naturally very welcome. GP's state is naturally similar to that of the people standing around. After all, the impact of Conqueror's haki doesn't seem to be that pleasant. Even if they are still awake after resisting hard, it is still a bit uncomfortable for them. Then I'm looking forward to Boss GP's cooking skills. Yefu also smiled at this. After finishing speaking, he also walked towards the sea restaurant. There are still a few people standing here, mainly because he restrained his own Conqueror's haki, otherwise, with his proficiency level, the Conqueror's haki is at the Grandmaster level. Really have to go all out. Can these miscellaneous fish really hold it? And he just stepped on the deck of the sea restaurant Bharati, but a voice sounded. UBD, how dare you kill our captain? At this time, the person who walked out was Ajin, who was known as a ghost. He is now looking straight at Yefu with murderous intent in his eyes, and he is holding crutches with iron balls in his hands, ready to attack Yefu. Oh, so you want to avenge your captain? Yefu looked at Ajin calmly and said. He was concerned about the violent fluctuations in his heart caused by killing a garbage for the first time since then, but he didn't feel that he had done anything wrong for the act of killing a garbage. It's just a pirate, if you kill it, you kill it, there is nothing to say. UBD. Ajin was very upset about Yefu's tone. That was his captain, the captain of the Krieg Pirates. The captain was killed, so how could he remain indifferent and just ignore it? So he stepped up. But this doesn't do any good. Swish. In an instant, Yefu rushed in front of Ajin, and the arm covered by armament haki punched directly. Boom. Ajin was hit hard by this punch and flew out. Fell to the ground in embarrassment. Since you are so loyal to your captain, I will send you to meet your captain. Yefu was still holding Krieg's weapon and gun in his hand, and his eyes fell on the ghost man, and he said softly. Followed. His hand holding the big gun also waved up and fell towards Ajin's head. But at this time. Wait a moment. But at this time, Luffy suddenly rushed in front of Ajin, and displayed the armament haki at the entry-level level, crossing his hands forward, ready to block Yefu's attack. Chapter 18. When the big gun fell, and there was the sound of iron hitting. Luffy, who suddenly stood in front of Ajin, was able to help Ajin block the attack, but he himself was also blown away by Yefu's blow. After all, he was only at the entry-level armament haki, and Luffy who just went to see. To say it is strong, of course it is a bit strong. But it's not that strong. At least, his current strength is not enough to compare with the current Yefu. You know, he was judged to be level 3 by the system, but if he judges it himself, his strength is not too far from level 4. If you want to compare it with the combat power of this pirate world, then he should be around the strength of a group of Commodore in Marine. The level 4 of the system should cover a wide range. From Marine's Rear Admiral to Admiral's strength, they should all be within this range, and the 4 Emperor's Lieutenant should also be at level 4 strength, but, in level 4, these people must be it is the strength of the peak of level 4. And the 4 Emperors. It should be the natural disaster level powerhouse of level 5. So, what strength is Luffy who just went to see, even if he bought armament haki and observation haki from him, which improved Luffy's strength, but the improvement is limited. Compared with Yefu, it is far worse. If you want to describe it, it is equivalent to a group of supernovas who have just arrived in Sabayati Archipelago and met Kizaru of the 3 admirals. Such a gap in strength. How can it be so easy to make up for? But the other party's behavior made Yefu feel uncomfortable. Things that have nothing to do with you, what are you doing when you have nothing to do? Want to show off your presence? Luffy, what do you want to do? Yefu said flatly. And Luffy got up very quickly. You have killed their captain, can't you let him go? Luffy looked at Yefu seriously and said. This word. It really stunned Yefu. Although I know that Luffy is very incomprehensible, and often does some incomprehensible behaviors. But after he experienced it himself, he just wanted to say it to Luffy. Are you sure your brain is really okay? Wasn't he really fooled by Garp's Iron Fist? Do you need me to find a doctor for you? Certainly. He could also guess the reason why the other party stood up. It's nothing more than BDSIs on mung beans. He thought Ajin was good, so when Ajin was about to be killed by him, he rushed out and rescued Ajin without considering the immediate consequences. But the behavior of the other party undoubtedly did not take him seriously. Let him go? Think about it carefully, who wants to do it? Yefu smiled contemptuously and said. Originally, after he killed Krieg, because of the reason for the first killing, he already didn't want to kill anymore. He just wanted to go to the restaurant on the sea and have a meal to relax his tense spirit from killing. As a result, Ajin rushed out, ready to attack him. The other party is courting death. His words. It also left Luffy speechless. Even if he is a god-tier man, he still remembers that it was Ajin who wanted Yefu to avenge the killing of the captain just now. Exactly so. He didn't even know what to say. This matter has nothing to do with you. Although the customer is God, if you insist on intervening, even if God wants to fight against me, I don't mind killing a god. Yefu glanced at Luffy coldly, and said coldly. He is a middleman. Naturally, I want to earn more trading points. For customers, he is naturally quite good in attitude, but this does not mean that he needs to accommodate the other party. Especially when the customers he thought were against him. He didn't mind, and sent himself, a customer, to God. After all, there is only one Wanja middleman like him. Does he lack customers? No, of course there is no lack of it. As long as his reputation spreads, groups of people will come over and want to trade with him, instead of him begging others to trade with him. Therefore, for him, the death of a few customers is at most a matter of changing a transaction partner, and there is no serious problem. Is also like this. Whoever dares to fight against him, don't expect him to keep his hand because of the relationship between the other party and him. As long as the other party dares to confront her, he will hit her right. Boss GP, do you know how much it costs to build a boat that can carry 100 people? At this time, Yefu suddenly asked GP such a sentence. To this, GP was also a little puzzled. But he still answered Yefu's question truthfully. Starting with tens of millions of pellis, the quality is only about 10 million pellis. If the quality is better, it will cost tens of millions of pellis. In this sea, the counterfeiting of a ship is definitely expensive. Moreover, how many ships can be built in 1 year? What's more, it is still possible to take a large ship with 100 people, even if it is made of ordinary materials, but the price is very expensive. The Krieg pirate group has a total of 5,000 people. In addition, there are 50 pirate ships. On average, each pirate ship can accommodate at least 100 people. One such pirate ship, at least 10 million Baileys are needed, a total of 50 ships, 500 million Baileys. Luffy, do you know if their boat was bought with money, or stolen, or where did their money come from? Yefu looked at Luffy and said. Who's a good guy in pirates? The answer is, no. If it were his world, this group of pirates would be a group of drug dealers, and it would not be too much to shoot them 100 times. The 50 pirate ships of the Krieg pirates are worth at least 500 million Baileys. You know, Nami has been wandering at sea for several years, cheating and stealing in order to earn the 100 million Baileys that bought the village. The results of it? It's just barely enough. And Nami's adoptive mother, Belle Mel, raised her 2 daughters. After several years, the savings she saved were only enough to pay the protection fees for the 2 children, which was only 100,000 Baileys. Visible. Just how valuable are the 50 pirate ships when the Krieg pirates rushed to the Grand Line? Certainly. For pirates, the wealth they have obtained is often robbed. Maybe those 50 pirate ships were the same, they were taken by the Krieg pirates. But if a village snatches such a pirate ship, at least 50 villages will be plundered by the Krieg pirates, and Yefu can't believe that people like Krieg are some good men and women who just rob money. If the other party didn't do the murder and fire prevention thing, he really wouldn't believe it. So, for such a scumbag, kill and kill. However, after he killed such a trash, the subordinates of this trash want to avenge him, will he show mercy? That is naturally impossible. However, just when he was about to kill the other party, Luffy shot suddenly instead. Stopped him from killing Ajin. This made him very unhappy. He also knows why, the role of Luffy later, some people don't like it very much. A person who does things based on his feelings like this really dare not agree with the other party's ideas. Then doing evil. The most terrible thing is those who do evil to themselves, but do not know the evil. Obviously, Luffy is one of them. But this has nothing to do with him. What has become of this One Piece world, and what does it have to do with him? Most of all, Luffy wanted to turn against him. This made him very unhappy. I said this just to tell you that if you are not blind, get away from me, and if you hinder me again, I will send you to see God. Yafu said coldly. After finishing speaking, he waved the big gun again without hesitation. Swish! This time, Luffy obviously didn't have any attacks that almost blocked him, and this time, Ajin, facing Yafu's huge strength gap, was powerless to resist at all, so his head was beheaded. His head fell on Baraty's deck, and he died with regret. Chapter 19. Subsequently, Yafu also didn't speak, but walked directly towards the restaurant on the sea. Luffy was also silent at the moment. What Yafu said just now may have shocked him. But whether the other party will reflect on it or not, it has nothing to do with Yafu. Introspect or not, it doesn't matter. He is not the kind of person who will rush to act as a dog's leg after seeing the protagonist. What about the protagonist? Don't mind his business. If there is a powerful person who suddenly appears and wants to kill Luffy, he will just ignore all this happening. To him, Luffy is just a customer, and the politeness in the transaction is only out of polite. Really want to talk about friendship? Feel sorry. It's just a deal, what kind of friendship can there be? Sanji, prepare the ingredients right away. At this time, GP also said to Sanji with a straight face. He didn't know the depth of Yafu's strength, but he was definitely much stronger than when he was at his peak, especially the sudden power that made everyone faint. This is simply unheard of. After all, he,